Does Rwanda currently have any troops at all in Eastern DRC?
I don't know.
Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now, let's get into it. Now, today's going to be a different type of video. I know I've been on Paul Kagame's neck in the past few days, but he deserves it. When you invade a black man's country, I'm going to keep my foot on your neck. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the history of Paul Kagame invading countries. Because what you see happening today in Eastern Congo with M23 and Rwanda weaponizing these rebel proxies to advance their interests in the Eastern Congo, this is nothing new. Kagame has been doing this since he was a young man. In fact, that's how he came to power. He came to power because he invaded Rwanda. So today we're going to be talking about it, man. We're going to be talking about the history of Paul Kagame invading countries. Now, how does a refugee from the bushes of Uganda end up becoming one of the biggest warlords in modern African history? That's what we're going to be talking about. Now, Kagame's story begins in Uganda. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, towards the end of European colonialism during the Hutu versus Tutsi supremacy battles that was happening in Rwanda, Kagame's family fled to Uganda. And that's where I believe that he spent the majority of his formative years. Now, when Kagame was a young man growing up in Uganda, there was another prominent young black man on the scene around that same exact time by the name of Museveni, right? I'm sure a lot of y'all know President Museveni, the president of Uganda. As you can see, Museveni on the left and Kagame on the right. Now, when you talk about Kagame's origin story, you have to mention Museveni. Now, of course, in the modern day, we know Museveni as the old head running Uganda. He's been the president of Uganda since before I was even born. But back in those times, Museveni was a prominent military man. Now, sometime in the 80s, Museveni begins gathering his rebel army to topple the Ugandan government, to overthrow the Ugandan government. And guess who signs up in the rebel army? Yes, Kagame. That's why a lot of individuals mention Museveni when they talk about Kagame's mentors. So in the late 1980s, Museveni takes power by the force of arms. The previous president, I believe it was Milton Obote, Kagame and Museveni, they got him out of there. They ran him out of town. This would be the first instance of Kagame actually attacking a government and toppling the regime. Something he would do multiple times later on in his life. Even right now in the modern day, he's trying to attack and topple the regime in the Congo, right? I mean, this guy don't know when to stop. He's supposed to be getting his colonoscopy. He's supposed to be spending time with his family, getting his cholesterol levels checked. But no, what is Kagame doing at the age of 67? He's funding a rebel insurgency in another African country. Anyway, let's get back into it. Now, Museveni takes power, and of course, Kagame becomes a major player in the new regime. But that would not be his last adventure, right? Now, I believe somewhere around that time is when Kagame came to the United States and received training by the United States military. And when he came back to Africa, he had his sights set on invading Rwanda. Keep in mind, like I said before, his family was sent into exile during the Hutu versus Tutsi supremacy battles back in the 50s and the 60s. So now he set his sights on invading Rwanda, coming back to Rwanda by the force of arms. And where would he launch this attack? You already know, from his bases in Uganda, right? Kagame came out the bushes of Uganda and invaded Rwanda. As you already know, Kagame created the RPF, the Rwandan Patriotic Front, and launched the invasion. And that's where Kagame's legacy really begins. Nobody really talks about, his days in Uganda. Everybody knows Kagame for the invasion and the takeover of Rwanda. And as we know, the president of Rwanda, his plane was shot down, he was killed, which ultimately led to the Rwandan genocide. And the final climax of this fighting being Kagame's rebel group taking power and taking over the government. So by the time Kagame was a young man in his 30s, he already attacked and toppled 2 African governments. As you can see, Kagame never gave a damn about the sovereignty of the next black man. He obviously has no problem attacking you and toppling your regime. Now, let's continue. Of course, the military adventures would not stop there. Take a look up on the screen. As you can see, Kagame shaking hands with President Mobutu, the president at the time of the Congo. I believe at that time it was called Zaire. Now, let's take a look at it. Take a look up on the screen. A younger Paul Kagame with the dictator Mobutu. It must be noted that Paul Kagame, a former Ugandan soldier, later as president of Rwanda, toppled Mobutu alongside Uganda and installed Laurent Kabila, who was shortly assassinated by his bodyguard after Kabila turned against his backers. Yes, the adventures didn't stop there, right? Toppled the president in Uganda, toppled the president in Rwanda. Now he set his sights toppling the president in the Congo. Take a look up on the screen. I believe this article is from 1997. Let's get into it. Rwanda's powerful defense minister, Paul Kagame, has acknowledged for the first time his country's key role in the overthrow of President Mobutu in neighboring Congo, saying that the Rwandan government planned and directed the rebellion that toppled the longtime dictator and that Rwandan troops and officers had led the rebel forces. Rwandan forces participated in the capture of at least 4 cities: the Congolese capital Kinshasa, the southern copper mining town of Lubumbashi, the key western crossroads of Kenj, and the diamond center of Kisangani, which fell on March 15th in what was considered the key battle of the war. He added that Rwandan mid-level commanders led Congolese rebel forces throughout the successful rebellion, and that Rwanda provided training and arms for those forces even before the campaign to overthrow Mobutu began last October. Kagame, the 40-year-old major general who commanded the 1994 takeover of Rwanda by a rebel army, offered what he said were secrets of the war in Congo, including the first public account by a senior Rwandan official of that country's involvement. Several other African countries, including Uganda, Angola, Burundi, and Zambia, also are known to have supported the rebel cause, but Kagame's account suggests that the war, which began in the eastern Congo, near the borders of Rwanda and Uganda, was planned primarily by Rwanda, and that the plan to remove Mobutu originated in Kigali, Rwanda as well. Now, time out. Over the past couple of days, I've been making videos about Paul Kagame, and a lot of folks are telling me, talk about Felix Tshisekedi. It's not Kagame's fault. Kagame didn't do nothing. Talk about Felix Tshisekedi. This is not about a personal beef between Kagame and Felix Tshisekedi, because as you can see, it doesn't matter who the leader is in the Congo, as you'll see in this video. It doesn't matter if it's Mobutu, it doesn't matter if it's Kabila Sr., Kabila Jr., or now Felix Tshisekedi. Kagame has been destabilizing the Congo from the eastern border since I was a baby. We talking 1997, bruh. I was 2 years old, and this dude was destabilizing the eastern Congo. I'm a grown man about to be 30, and he's still destabilizing the eastern Congo. So as you can see, this goes beyond Felix Tshisekedi. When it comes to the Congo, this guy is a problem. Point blank, period. Ain't no doubt about it. Ain't no question about it. This guy is a problem that must be addressed. And I mean that seriously. This guy is a problem that must be addressed. And as you can see, just like back in the 80s, when they toppled the regime back in Uganda, Museveni and Kagame. Same thing happened again when they toppled the regime of Mobutu, Kagame and Museveni working together. Now, Mobutu wasn't the greatest leader of all time, right? But the consequences that followed, the instability that followed after Kagame intervened in the affairs of the Congo and toppled the government, millions of black men, black women, and black children died of disease, starvation, and homicidal violence in the wars that would follow in the coming years. Has Kagame ever waged war on any white man ever? This man has only been aggressive towards other blacks. This man has never waged an offensive against a single European nation. Has Kagame even shot a gun in the direction of a white man? I don't even think so. He's only shot guns in the direction of black people. He's only killed black people. Rwanda's intervention in the Congo began in 1996. 2 years earlier, Kagame's Rwandan Patriotic Front, the RPF, had invaded Rwanda from neighboring Uganda, defeating the government in Kigali and ending the genocide of some 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. As Kagame installed a minority Tutsi regime in Rwanda, some 2 million Hutu refugees fled to UN-run camps, mostly in Congo's North and South Kivu provinces. These provinces, which occupy an area of about 48,000 square miles, slightly larger than the state of Pennsylvania, are situated along Congo's eastern border with Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi, and together have a population of more than 5 million people. In addition to containing rich deposits of minerals, North and South Kivu have, since the pre-colonial era, been subject to large waves of migration by people from Rwanda, including both Hutus and Tutsis. In recent decades, these Rwandans have competed with more established residents for control of land. Following Kagame's consolidation of power in Rwanda, a large invasion force of Rwandan Tutsis arrived in North and South Kivu to pursue Hutu militants and to launch a war against the 3-decade-long dictatorship of the Congo by Mobutu, whom they claimed was giving refuge to the leaders of the genocide. With Rwanda and Ugandan support, a new regime led by Laurent Kabila was installed in the Congo. But after Kabila ordered the Rwandan troops to leave in 1998, Kagame responded with a new and even larger invasion of the country. Now, this would be the 4th time in 10 years? So the first time, attacked the government in Uganda back in the 80s. Then the second time, attacked the government of Rwanda, took power. The third time, attacked Congo, drove Mobutu out of power. Now, the fourth time, attacking Kabila in the Congo. Let's continue. Kabila's hold on power was saved at this point by Angola and Zimbabwe, which rushed troops into Congo to repel the Rwandan invaders. Angola was motivated by fears that Congolese territory would be used as a rear base by the longtime Angolan rebel leader Jonas Savimbi, following the renewed outbreak of the country's civil war. Zimbabwe appears to have been drawn by promises of access to Congolese minerals. The protracted and inconclusive conflict that followed has become what Gerard Prunier, in the title of his sprawling book, calls Africa's World War, a catastrophic decade of violence that has led to a staggering 5.4 million deaths. Now, listen, if it's one question I would ask Paul Kagame, right? Obviously, the origins of this beef, the origins of all this conflict goes back to the Hutu versus Tutsi supremacy battles that was happening back in Rwanda, right? Why did millions of black folks in the Congo have to die because of this? Most of these people that died most likely had nothing to do with this. Why did Kagame drag this entire region in Africa into his tribal warfare? Because that's basically what it is. This is some tribal warfare that Kagame has spread throughout the entire region. Millions of blacks dead from disease, starvation, homicidal violence. All for what? All for what? That's what I would ask him. That's what I would ask Paul Kagame. Why did you drag the entire region into your bullshit? Now, nobody is allowed to live in peace because of some tribal warfare that Paul Kagame got going on. Now, nobody's allowed to live in peace. For the past 20 years, damn near, and still ongoing, still to this day, as we speak right now, it's still ongoing. He's still destabilizing that region of the world. All for what? Because of his little tribal beef, his little tribal battles. Millions of blacks dead. And like I said, this man has not waged a single war against a single white army. This man has never stood toe to toe against a white man in battle. He's only attacked blacks. Spent his whole life attacking blacks. Anyway, let's continue. 5.4 million deaths. Far more than any war anywhere since World War II. It also has resulted in one of the largest and least followed UN interventions in the world, involving nearly 20,000 UN soldiers from over 40 countries. Throughout this conflict, Rwanda, a small, densely populated country with few natural resources of its own, has pursued Congo's enormous mineral wealth. Initially, the Rwandan Patriotic Front was directly operating mining businesses in the Congo, according to UN investigations. More recently, Rwanda has attempted to maintain control of regions of eastern Congo through various proxy armies. Let's continue. Among these, none has been more lethal than the militia led by Laurent Nkunda, Congo's most notorious warlord, whose record of violence in eastern Congo includes destroying entire villages, committing mass sexual assaults, and causing hundreds of thousands of Congolese to flee their homes. See, that's why I can't respect it. When it comes to the white man, Kagame's respectful, he's cordial, he's shipping off the critical minerals. When it comes to the black man, he's launching invasions, he's backing and supporting warlords that destroy entire villages and commit mass sexual assaults. Like, you see what the black man get? See, the white man gets critical minerals. Meanwhile, what the black man get? The black man gets destabilization. The black man gets his neighborhood attacked and burned down. The black man gets murdered and driven off his land so Kagame's rebel insurgents can take over the mines. You see, Kagame hates black men. Like, that's what it is. I realize, man, Kagame hates black men. That's the only logical answer, right? Because with the white man, you're cordial, you're shipping off the product, you're shipping off the resources. When it comes to the black man, all we get is murder and destruction. You see, Kagame hates black men. I understand. Kagame hates black men. Let's continue. Now, if we take a look up on the screen, this is the so-called rebel, the so-called warlord, the terrorist that they were talking about by the name of Laurent Nkunda. See, in the modern day, Kagame is back in M23, but see, back in the day, back in the 2000s, he was back in various other, proxy armies, rebel groups, and this was one of the main leaders, right? This guy right here, Laurent Nkunda. Let's get into it. Let's talk about him. Nkunda is a Congolese Tutsi who is believed to have fought in both the Rwandan Civil War and the subsequent wars against Mobutu. In 2002, he was dispatched by the Rwandan government to Kisangani, an inland city in the eastern Congo, whose nearby gold mines have been fought over by Ugandan and Rwandan-backed forces. So you see, back in 2002. back in 2002, I was in the 2nd grade, and Kagame was sending men into the Eastern Congo to take control of the mines. I was in the 2nd grade learning how to multiply numbers, right? Learning 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 4 is 16, and Kagame was destabilizing the Congo back then when I was learning my ABCs and my 1, 2, 3s. Let's continue. Nkunda committed various atrocities, including the massacre of some 160 people. In 2004, Nkunda declined a military appointment by Congo's transitional government, choosing instead to back a Tutsi insurgency in North Kivu near the Rwandan border. He claimed that his actions were aimed at preventing an impending genocide of Tutsis in Congo. Most observers say that these claims were groundless. So this is the same pretext that Kagame is using in 2025, the same pretext that this terrorist was using back in 2002. Man, listen, this guy's a problem, man. Let's continue. Now, see, in the modern day, we have M23, but before M23, there were other rebel proxy groups that Kagame weaponized and deployed in the region. Let's talk about the CNDP, the National Congress for the Defense of the People, a rebel group established by Laurent Nkunda in the Kivu region of the Congo in December 2006. The CNDP was engaged in the Kivu conflict, an armed conflict against the Congolese military, right? So these guys was fighting against the Congolese government. In January 2009, the CNDP split and Nkunda was arrested by the Rwandan government, and a splinter faction led by Bosco Ntaganda was planned to be integrated into the national army. Now, this guy, Laurent Nkunda, went from being a rebel that was backed and sponsored by Kagame to he was eliminated by Kagame. He was removed by Kagame. And I believe that he is currently being held in Rwanda at an undisclosed location, right? Basically locked up in Rwanda, but nobody knows where he's at apparently. This is somebody who has been involved and active in every single one of Kagame's conflicts, going all the way back to the Rwandan takeover back in the 1990s when Kagame took over the government. He was in the Rwandan Liberation Army. He was involved in the first Congo war against the Congo government. He was involved in the second Congo war against the Congo government. And so what happened? Why did Kagame turn on his mans? Why did he arrest his mans? If you ask me, I believe that he simply got too powerful. He simply got too powerful and he could no longer be controlled. Because in the beginning, he was doing exactly what Kagame wanted him to do, which is cause chaos in the Eastern Congo, destabilize the Congolese government, make sure that Kagame has access to the coltan and the gold and the various minerals. But it seems that he forgot that he was a puppet. You are not the boss. You are not the top shotter. You are the puppet, right? You are the little mans, right? You are the foot soldier. You're supposed to follow orders, right? So this guy, he started feeling himself. He wanted to be independent. So Kagame had to get him out of here. Now let's continue. Nkunda's insurgency was put down, but clashes between the rebels, government forces, and other groups continued to foster ethnic tensions in Eastern Congo, including widespread sexual violence against women. Man, what is up with y'all boys, man? That's what I don't understand about Kagame talking about, oh, I'm just defending myself. I'm just defending my people. But why is your people violating the women and the babies all the goddamn time, bruh? God. Anyway, let's continue. In 2005, the UN estimated that some 45,000 women were sexually assaulted in South Kivu alone. All this for some damn minerals? You doing all this for some damn minerals? Yo, this dude is sick. This guy's sick, man. This guy's a problem. Let's continue. In the fall of 2008, Nkunda, apparently with Kagame's encouragement, led a new offensive of Tutsi rebels in North Kivu that uprooted about 200,000 civilians and threatened to capture the city of Goma near the Rwandan border. So you see, over 10 years ago, they just captured the city of Goma last week, but over 10 years ago, displaced 200,000 black people trying to capture this. Yo, bro, all this for some damn minerals. All this for some minerals, man. This dude is sick, bro. This dude is on another level. Let's continue. In January 2009, however, the Rwandan government made a surprise decision to arrest Nkunda. Kagame's willingness to move against Nkunda appears to stem in part from increasing international scrutiny of Rwanda's meddling in the Eastern Congo. So back in those days, the condemnations coming from the international community made Kagame take a step back, right? They were like, listen, bro, you wilding over there. You bugging over there. You getting too big for your britches, bro. Calm down. Calm down, bro. Displacing 200,000 people, sexually assaulting 50,000 women, bro. All for some minerals. Calm down, bro. International community had to pump the brakes on Kagame. So back during that time, he pulled back some of his support for the rebels that was causing trouble in the Eastern Congo. And that's what they trying to do. It's like deja vu, right? Now they talking about sanctions, embargoes, and things like that. Same thing, bro. This dude don't stop. He don't stop. He's a problem. He's a problem. Let's continue. The arrest took place just weeks after the release of a UN report documenting Rwanda's close ties to the warlord and concluding that he was being used to advance Rwanda's economic interests in Congo's eastern hinterlands. The report stated that Rwandan authorities had been complicit in the recruitment of soldiers, including children. My God, bro. My God, this dude is sick. Including children, have facilitated the supply of military equipment and have sent officers and units from the Rwandan Defense Forces while giving Nkunda access to Rwandan bank accounts and allowing him to launch attacks on the Congolese army from Rwandan soil. So listen, a lot of folks in the comment section talking about, oh, Tshisekedi is Felix Tshisekedi. Don't listen, it's bigger than Felix Tshisekedi, bro. Because Kagame been doing this before we even knew Felix Tshisekedi's name. And he's probably going to be doing this long after Felix Tshisekedi is gone. So we have to focus on the problem, on the cancer in the region. And the cancer in the region is the skinny man down in Kigali. Now, let's continue. Following Nkunda's arrest, Congo President Joseph Kabila, that's Kabila Jr., agreed to allow Rwandan forces to conduct a 5-week joint military operation in the Eastern Congo against Hutu rebels. But attacks against civilians increased precipitously since the joint operation. My God. They done gave the man the curse. They gave Kagame the courtesy. Listen, come to the country and hunt down the so-called Hutu rebels. This man started attacking civilians. My God. My God. Let's continue. Now, I want to talk about another so-called rebel leader that was funded and backed by Kagame. A gentleman by the name of Bosco Ntaganda. Take a look up on the screen. Bosco Ntaganda is a Congolese former rebel leader and a convicted war criminal. He was the former military chief of staff of the National Congress for the Defense of the People, the CNDP. This was the M23 before the M23. Now, let's continue. In 2012, he was living openly in the city of Goma in the Congo, about 100 yards from the Rwandan border. On the 4th of April 2012, it was reported that Ntaganda and 300 loyal troops defected from the DRC and clashed with government forces in the region north of Goma. On the 11th of April 2012, President Joseph Kabila called for Ntaganda's arrest. On the 16th of March 2013, Sultani Makenga's forces seized control of the town of Kibumba, and Ntaganda and an estimated 200 fighters fled into the forest while hundreds of others crossed into the border into Rwanda, including about 300 uniformed M23 rebels loyal to Ntaganda. Now, in my video yesterday, Kagame and the spokeswoman for his government, they kept saying, we have to protect our border. We got to protect our border. We have to protect our border. But as you can see in this video, it's Rwanda that's violating the border. It's Rwanda that has no respect for the border. It's Rwanda that's deploying terrorists at the border. If anybody needs to protect their border, it's the Congo. Now, take a look up on the screen. This is an article from 11 years ago, a headline from 11 years ago. Notorious warlord gives himself up to the International Criminal Court. Bosco Ntaganda flees the Congolese jungle for Rwanda after his forces are scattered by rivals. So this guy, he wanted to be a crash dummy. He wanted to be a foot soldier for Kagame. He wanted to be a weed carrier for Kagame. He wanted to be a shooter for Kagame. Ended up with endless amount of years in prison. Look at this goofball. Look at this idiot. Over 30 years in prison. He gonna get out when he's like 70, 80 years old. Ha! You see, Kagame, he's still gonna be rich. He gonna be an old man spending time with his grandkids. Meanwhile, you still gonna be in prison looking stupid and feeling stupid, right? Look at you, looking dumb as hell. 13 counts of war crimes and 5 counts of crimes against humanity. This man went and committed crimes against humanity on behalf of Paul Kagame. And Paul Kagame left you stranded. Paul Kagame left you high and dry. Paul Kagame left you high and dry. Look at you. You went and terrorized black people. You went and assaulted black women. You went and killed black men for Paul Kagame. Just for Paul Kagame to get the critical minerals. And look at you in prison. And Paul Kagame still in power. Still enjoying life. Still enjoying life. Still enjoying the finer things of life. Look at you. Looking stupid. God damn, man. Y'all boys want to be crash dummies for Paul Kagame. And the same thing, the same fate awaits y'all boys, y'all M23 boys. Listen, the cemetery or the prison cell awaits you. You're not going to die a rich, prosperous man. You're going to die a violent, bloody death, or you're going to die miserable in a prison cell. That's the only logical conclusion. You're not going to die surrounded by your grandkids, surrounded by your family, with millions of dollars. No, you're going to die a violent, traumatic death, or you're going to die in a prison cell depressed all by yourself. That's a fact. Mark my words. Neferkari Dessalines told you that. I can see into the future. You already signed your death warrant. You already signed your fate. Your fate is sealed, my friends. Your fate is sealed. But anyways, as you can see, Paul Kagame in 2025, and basically my entire life, has been destabilizing and launching attacks against the Congo, against the citizens that inhabit the eastern section of the Congo. And honestly, when you have a neighbor like this, a neighbor who is as belligerent as Paul Kagame, military defense should be the biggest allocation of the budget. Like military defense along the border, especially military defense in all sectors should be the number one priority. When you have a belligerent neighbor who the only thing he knows is waging war, only against black men, by the way, never against anybody else, only against black men, not the Arab, not the white man, only against the black man, right? When you have a neighbor who is belligerent, who has no problem killing black men and planting the seeds of terrorism inside your country, you need to maintain a permanent defensive posture in terms of military defense. That's what I would say to any leader taking up the mantle of leadership in the Congo. You have a belligerent neighbor to your east. That's the best way to describe him. He is belligerent. He doesn't stop. He doesn't stop. He hasn't stopped since 1997, bro. And he just signed $1 billion deal for the exports of critical minerals coming out the Congo. So now he has an incentive to never stop. In fact, he has an incentive to turn it all the way up. That's why just a few weeks after that deal was signed with the EU for the critical minerals, somehow, coincidentally, M23, they captured the town that held the largest coltan mine in the country, and I think in the entire world. They captured the biggest coltan mine in the entire world just right after that deal was signed. You think it's a coincidence? I think not. Anyways, man, it's your boy Neferkari Dessalines. Back in the building, yes indeed. Cash App in the description. Support the channel, man. Support the album. Peace.
Yeah, I'm focused on fortification. I'm trying to step out of the matrix. I'm finna be all in your playlist. The haters gon' look and amaze me. I'm taking my time and I'm patient. They tell me I make it look easy. I'm going and they never gon' reach me. I cut off my phone, I'm back on my zone. Yeah, I'm back on my own, the king of my castle and forging my own path. I'm back on the throne, I know they be watching it lately. I'm pressing the gas. These niggas be clones, they selling they soul for currency. I be like, man, just leave me alone. Lil' mama, she look like a dancer. I'm back in my zone, I got hundreds and fifties, they treat me just like I'm a master. I'm back in the city, I'm feeling imperial, plotting on power expansion. I can't show no love, I got pain in my heart, but I hide it when I'm on the camera. I'm young and I'm raising the standard, and now I don't be doing no features. These niggas be talking about killing and robbing, I'm steady relaxing leisure. The spirit of kings, we never gon' die, we taking it back with the leaders. They came and invaded, the enemy raided and put all that shit in museums. Real talk, and I still can't believe it. I pull up and shine on them, I pull up and ride on them, I pull up and flex with the team, you know we gon' style on them. I'm cold like 7 degrees whenever I rhyme on them. This shit like COINTELPRO, my nigga they spine on us. Fuck how they feeling, I'm bossed up. Enemy finna get tossed up. Come on the block and then buy it up. Back in the biz and I'm riding up. I'm ready for war and they hiding out. I told the creator I'm riding out. They up in the crib and they popping out. I'm close to the limit, I've been in route. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Weight on my shoulders, it feel like a boulder. Ghost written by the kings, I decoded like high priest. Let a foul done wrote it. I'ma get it till they tell me it's over. I'ma get it till I'm way up and know it. Meditated so I'm close to the God. Pretty soon we gon' be on the top. Yeah, I'm focused on fortification. I'm trying to step out of the matrix. I'm finna be all in your playlist. The haters gon' look and amaze me. I'm taking my time and I'm patient. They tell me I make it look easy. I'm